They might be giants, they might be fake, they might be lies, they might be big, big, fake, fake lies.
23rd Annual Phyllis Clarke Memorial Lecture. Heading on to the 25th, which hopefully will be a big event. And tonight, I wish to welcome Dr. John Loxley, who many of you know of, or you likely wouldn't be here. He's already had a very busy schedule yesterday and again tomorrow. In terms of how the evening will unfold, I'll be calling upon Don Elder, who is the president of QP Local 3904 here at Ryerson, one of the very generous contributors to the Phyllis Clarke Lecture. We couldn't afford to have the pleasure of having people like John Loxley or many of the other people who have come in, Bill Fletcher last year, and others. Without the generous support from QP Local 3904, but in addition, I do have to mention QP Locals 233 and 1281, again here at Ryerson, and QP Ontario. And in addition to all of that, the Ontario Council of Hospital Unions, which is a coalition of the QP locals in Ontario hospitals. And they too have contributed. And of course, my own department, the department which a number of people here belong to, the Department of Politics and Public Administration. So again, welcome and thank you for coming out on a not very pleasant evening. But the good thing being we are on the cusp of spring and better weather coming. So the rain is better than snow, at least for now. So with that, before I introduce John Loxley formally, I'd like to call on Don Elder. Don, where did you disappear? There you are. Who will provide you a bit of a background of who Phyllis Clarke was.
Thank you, Brian, and good evening, everybody. It's my privilege to speak on behalf of the Canadian Union of Public Employees this evening. Across the nation, QP represents about 500,000 workers. And in Ontario, we are represented on every university campus, in addition to all the other public service locals in the province. On this campus, we represent the sessional and part-time instructors, which we name Unit 1, the continuing education instructors in Unit 2, and the TAs and GAs in Unit 3, all told about 2,500 members. Fred Hahn, who is the president of the Ontario Division, is unable to be here tonight, so I'm standing in for him. And the Ontario Division, along with QP 3904 and the other QP locals on the campus, we're happy to support this Phyllis Clarke lecture. Phyllis Clarke was a well-known character on campus. She was a lousy smoker when it was fashionable, and I'm told toward the end of her career she pulled a tank of oxygen along taking a drag between puffs. She was a founding member of the Graduate Assistants Association, which became the Canadian Union of Educational Workers, and in 1980 it was finally amalgamated with the Canadian Union of Public Employees in 1995 to bring us to where we are today. Phyllis was a long-time member of the Communist Party and ran unsuccessfully on several occasions, most remarkably against John Diefenbaker in 1953 in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. And throughout her life, she was active in labor struggles really from the 1940s onwards until her death. Phyllis joined the Department of Politics at Ryerson in 1977 and helped define its commitment to intellectual inquiry and social justice. She died March 21st, 1988, having lived a life devoted to socialism, trade unionism, feminism, community activism, and teaching. One colleague upon her death wrote, "Socialism has lost a champion." Our address tonight by Dr. John Loxley could not be more relevant in our present circumstances, in our university, in our city, and in our country. And we at QP are very happy to be in support. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Now, I'm sure I don't need to do the introduction, but for the sake of formality, I will, so bear with me. So Dr. John Loxley is professor in the Department of Economics at the University of Manitoba. And I'd like to say probably, and I'm rather confident in saying, the only left-leaning economics department in Canada, and maybe one of 3 in North America. And I think many people here could probably name all of the left-leaning or left-of-center economists outside of that department, like Jim Stanford, Armin Yalnizyan. There just aren't many. And so having people like John, and we have to appreciate the Department of Economics at the University of Manitoba for being a center of economic research and analysis from a critical left perspective, which is just so rare and valuable today. John specializes in international money and finance, international development, and community economic development, and has published extensively in these areas. I'd like to point out we have a book table from Fernwood Books, which has a number of John's publications, including one, his recent one on P3s, which I would encourage you to pick up if you have not already. But in addition to that, other publications, including the 2011 Socialist Register, where I have a chapter with Greg Elman. But, you know, I'm really Greg Elman's age, so. He has served as an economic advisor to a number of governments, demonstrating the applied dimension of his critical work to governments in Manitoba, of course, but in addition to the government of Nelson Mandela, the incoming government of Nelson Mandela back in, that would have been, what, 1989, 1990, or around there. And in addition to that, he's worked for a number of international institutions as a policy advisor. In 2005, in terms of recognition of John's intellectual contribution, he was elected to the Royal Society of Canada, and in May 2008, he was the recipient of the Distinguished Academic Award granted by the Canadian Association of University Teachers. And maybe more importantly, to cap it off, in May 2010, John was awarded the Galbraith Prize in Economics by the Progressive Economists Forum, an organization of which many people here are members of. And as I mentioned, he's researched in a number of areas, but in public-private partnerships for more than 15 years. And I've pointed out his 2010 publication, which again I have to encourage you to pick up if you haven't already. And with that, I'd like to turn the floor over to John Loxley.